Oh, okay. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I maybe introduce?
I guess so.
Okay. Well, we're going to be talking about online resources for classroom management. Um, Maybe I'll just name one and then we can all comment about it.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. So I started with um, ah, the dojo.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So I signed up for it. It seems quite easy to follow. It's basically just to keep track of their grades, their behavior, and their attendance. I just wanted to say really quickly that in our school we have this platform called RenWeb. I don't know, Barbara, if you're familiar with it.
Mm, no.
Well, it's a very similar. It's kind of very similar. It does the same thing, and we are like obliged to use it. It's a platform that we
Oh,
use to
okay.
put grades up, to have communication with parents, to talk about behavior, attendance, like everything. So when I was looking at all these apps, it's kind of a bit of the same, but in different platforms, basically.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I thought of Class Dojo. Do you use it? Or
Um, Actually, I used Class Dojo last year with my students, and it started off really well, but I found that the momentum went downhill. Especially because I don't know, the parents, some of the parents used it, but find that it's not as effective if you don't have parental support or if they haven't bought into it. Because then who are you reporting the information to?
does it
Especially
automatically
because
go?
yeah, they can create an account, and so the parents get instant notifications whenever the child gets a dojo point or loses a dojo point, and also they have Dojo Messenger, which is basically text messaging between the parent, like directly between teacher and
Oh.
parent. But because it wasn't like it's something that I just discovered, and I had started to do it with the kids in my class, and it wasn't mandated by the school. You had some parents who, they will do it, but they don't really feel that it's that important. Um, but I really, really like it, especially for behavior management. Um, I don't know, it doesn't do much for like as far as grades and unless you send a message directly to the parents, but especially for behaviors because what you can do is you can customize your behavior list specifically to what behaviors you want your students to do or not to do in your class. And so that was one of the good things that I found with it because I
As a class or
it ha-
individually?
no as a class
Okay.
it shows you like you set your behaviors and so they have a few generic ones but then it also allows you to include as many behaviors as you want and you can be very specific and then you also are able to allot how many points you use how many points you give for each behavior and that includes the positive behaviors and the negative behaviors so for instance with the negative behaviors while something like maybe not turning in homework, you lose 1 point. Something more for fighting or physical aggression, you could lose 5 points or 10 points. So you could choose how many points um, you had for each behavior. And it was good. Like, honestly, the kids enjoyed it. But I think at the end, there has to also be some incentive because last year I was teaching fifth graders and they didn't have an incentive because I used Class Dojo and I took away my prize box. Like this year, I'm doing banana box and the prize box, so they know that at the end, if their money accumulates, they can get something from the box. But with Dojo points, it was just like the points are going somewhere into thin air, but that's the only reward. So my kids didn't feel that it was tangible. And so after a while, they were like, well, we can't exchange these points into anything, you know. So that was another reason why it died down. But I will say for younger kids, because two of my coworkers still use it again, they use it this year. They do find that it's still helpful, and especially because there's a little sound like you take it into the classroom and you do it on your phone and it's like ding ding ding. So like in the class the kids hear the ding ding and they get excited, but they don't know who's getting the
Oh,
points until they go
okay.
home. Or if they lose points, it's like
Um,
"Durr, durr," right, and then they're but it's a two-edged sword because some teachers are like, well, you shouldn't have your phone in the classroom, and all of these kind of stuff because if you want to be like with it, I guess. So what I would
mhm.
do is I would write it down and then I would add the points at the end of the class, and the kids say ding 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 ding, like they know, oh, some kids are getting points or whatever. So, but it's
Okay.
a good behavior,
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Mhm. Like you said,
Yeah.
Barbara and Maria, uh, I learned two things from Class Dodo. I have never used or heard of it before, but it does two things: communicate with parents instantly. They get like feedback about what's going on in the classroom with their kids, and also manage behavior in the classroom. So those are the two main things that I see that ClassDodo does. And in managing student behavior, I came across some concerns that a lot of parents have. It looks like you said in the beginning, it's excited for everyone, but then if they don't have incentive, it kind of go down, and then kids don't get interested anymore. And at the same time, for some parents, the focus is more on the behavior than the academic part. And then
Hmm.
it's frustrated for their kids. So they really don't appreciate that part of getting a message or about your kids, doing something wrong at school. And then when the kids get home, it's a different story. So that was something that I find interested also. And another thing that I also discovered was still on the parents' side, they were worried about privacy policies regarding ClassDodo. Who has access to it besides the parents and the teachers? So, and also, I think it's a great tool. This is my own opinion. It's a great tool for communication and also for monitoring behavior. But it should not be the only tool used in the classroom. There should be also a constant feedback between the teacher and the kids while that's being done on the side.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like last year, I used it mostly, like you said, it's really only for behavior. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was something that you could use for behavior, but then you'd still need to find like other avenues to communicate with parents, um,
Totally.
and do other stuff to manage your class. Yeah.
So that was class Dodo. Um, Maria, do you want to go ahead or I can go?
Or you can go ahead if you want.
Okay, I also came across, I looked a little bit on StopGo. It's a tool that allows teachers to share. That's all I found about it. Like you have a great link about um, some tips in running the classroom, and then you just post the links and then you share information with the teachers. That's what I found
Hmm.
on StopGo. And yeah, there are other ones, but I'll let you hear your thoughts on that
Yeah.
first before I jump in.
I think Stop Go, I had something similar to this when I first came to China, but it was like a physical red, yellow, green. It was like a timer, and it would tell the kids like when they needed to, I guess, eyes on me, and when they
Mm-hmm.
were free to work. But I looked at the link that was in the lesson, and it seems um, pretty simple. I don't see where it's really used for behavior. Like it said that it was, if I remember correctly, it says that it was designed to be used as a behavioral aid, and I guess behaviors as in stop and go, but I don't see like how else it would be able to,
I agree.
you
I
know.
didn't see that. Okay.
I think it's more
I
like, again, like a timer also. I don't think I would use it in my classroom. Um,
right.
but just to kind of maybe for the students that need a little bit more like a visual aid, as in the time that we have or the time that they're
Yeah.
expected to do something. Um,
So,
yeah, kind of like a
and
fun
also,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of skips, or the too nosy one, it looks like a great tool also in monitoring the level of noise in the classroom. So you kind of put it there, and then everybody's watching, and they know, this is how much time we have left, or this is how much time we're gonna need to do X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
I was a little bit, I don't know, not so turned on by the too nosy
Yeah.
one. Because I'm like, as a teacher, I mean, we should be able to monitor the level of noise in the
The level of
classroom.
the noise. Right.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking about this day before yesterday, day, day before yesterday, that I think this would be helpful. I wish I had this app actually, because sometimes when the students are doing group work,
Mm-hmm.
um, sometimes they get a little bit noisier than they should
Usual.
be, and it will take away from, for instance, day before yesterday, my kids were studying in groups, like they were playing review games, getting ready for their final exams, and I had to keep stopping what I was doing to say, shh, shh, be quiet, your voices are getting too loud. So, I mean, in an instance where they're doing more free play or like, just group work, it would be helpful instead of because you remind them and they're quiet for a little while, they're using their level 2 voice or level 3 voice, but then
That's
after
true.
45 seconds it's like loud again,
They
and
go
then
Yeah,
honestly
I
the kids
think.
don't mind, like they are in their groups, but once in a while I'll have one student who will come and say, well, that group is too loud or they're having too much fun or something like that. So this
I
this
think
app, I
also
wish
for
I had it
reading,
before yesterday.
when you're in
Yeah.
reading and you have, and that's what I thought, like when you have like partner reading and then you have individual reading, sometimes the partners get a bit too excited about what they're reading and giving their opinions, and I thought the too noisy would be a good way to kind of minimize that, where they can still share but not distract the rest of the class.
Right.
Because you still want,
Right.
like sometimes I want the reading, I still want to be able to do in groups or in partners, but I don't want that to affect the ones that want to do it individually. Um, so yeah, I thought that would be a good
Yeah.
way to use it.
Right. I agree, Maria. Like Barbara just mentioned the game yesterday in our classroom. We had a word tennis, if I remember, or tennis word, which I don't know which way it goes. But we had two lines of students, and they were supposed to stay at their place and not move. And then the teacher will give them like a clue, like you're gonna come up with words. It could be a noun, an adjective, or a verb. So each one was trying to get the right match, and they weren't supposed to do that. But in this case, if we had a too nosy tool next to us, I think it would kind of remind them how nosy like the class was, because I think like many times the teacher had to say, okay, you guys, it's getting too loud. You need to pull it down a little bit. So I think it's a great
Hmm.
tool for activities like that. It would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another one that I looked at was the sand timer, which is pretty much, I think, similar to the stop go one. And basically just something that was very specific, had a specific purpose, basically a timer to keep kids like let kids know how much time they had left on a task. Um, but it's just digital, so I mean I don't
Yeah,
know if you guys
I
check
use a
that one
sand
out.
timer. Sorry. I use a sand timer in the classroom, and though I thought
Mhm.
that this one was a bit more flashy, maybe we'll get them to pay attention more. I don't think that it
More.
makes a big difference because my kids are still
Yeah.
like, oh, do we still have time left? And I should just show it to them.
Exactly.
Um,
Right. I use the sand timer as well. I have an assortment, 5, 10, 15, 30, and I
oh,
love my
wow.
sand timers.
Mhm.
I think they're so pretty.
Mhm.
And the kids really, they pay attention to them. The only thing is, I think if you were to project like this sand timer, say if you were to project it onto the screen, more students would be able to see it, as opposed to
Yeah,
like the sand timer sits on my desk, and so really only
yeah,
the two kids who sit in front of my desk are able to
You
see
can
it.
see
So
them.
that's
Yeah.
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
But there are
I,
also,
I
like, at
also,
least mine, oh, sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say that I also like the teacher kit. And to me, probably that's a great tool, especially at the beginning of the year when you get to learn to know students' name and faces, because it looks like it allows you to add students' pictures and then eventually keep track of their grades and even import data, which I think is great. And when you are not at school and you have your iPad, you can still work outside of the school for those who like to do that. So I think Teacher Kit also is very helpful in that sense.
Yeah, I found that it was very similar to RunWeb because RunWeb also has pictures to go with each student. But I really like
mm,
that this one, you can make really cool reports and graphs
right, right, right.
with their grades, and you can see how they're how they're doing better or how they need more help, which I haven't seen in any of the other platforms.
Yeah, I think that this one was easier too. I think this one is similar to the Datatron, user friendly. Read about it. Um, but it seems a little bit more user friendly for teachers because it does allow you to hold a lot of information, like and a lot of different types of information.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
seems good.
Um,
And
so the next one I talk.
then what
There's another one also,
else?
the Smart Seat.
Oh, the smart
Um,
seat.
yeah, it said that it's a great resource for productivity and efficiency in the classroom. So it's an app and it helps
Mhm.
you create charts and you can also create groups for students movement. You can generate PDF and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's more like going paperless with this app, the
Yeah.
Smart Seat one. Yeah. You
Yeah, I
can
like that
also
you can
load. Go
call
ahead.
on students to participate at random. That
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I
Mhm.
find myself kind of choosing the same or kind of looking around and
Same
not
kids
making
over and
sure.
over.
Yeah, where that one it kind of like tells you which one to call on, which I seems a bit redundant, but sometimes it could be useful.
Right, right. No, yeah, definitely. There's a similar app that we use on our smart boards. It's like a randomizer, a random name picker. And so I don't use it all the time, but for certain things, I find that it's helpful um, to use that instead of always calling on the same students.
Hmm.
Although
Mm-hmm.
I think that this app does that part is, helpful and we need that. I don't necessarily see the point of needing a seating chart because, I mean, after 1 week, you don't really know where they sit,
You
but
have an
You
I
should
guess
idea.
if
know.
they
Yeah.
move or,
Exactly.
no.
That's right.
So I don't know. In China, the students rotate seats once every 4 weeks or 3 weeks,
They
but they
have
don't
to?
ever shift from yeah, it's something to do with the eyes. Like, because
Oh.
your eyes should not be looking at the board in the same direction for the entire year. So they move from here and then they move to the next row and to the next row and they rotate. Yeah, here in China, they're very big about the eyes. That and their eye
Mm.
exercises twice a day.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
That's interesting. Well,
For
what
me,
I see, the teacher I'm working with usually, he changes the student's seat right after the parent-teacher conference. That's one thing he
uh,
does. And then when because at that time everybody knows each other and they get too comfortable.
they get
So
too comfortable. Right, right, right. Well, I mean,
yeah,
we do that too. In my class, I have students who sit in certain seats that they don't, it's not their normal seat. But I'm like, when I'm in this room, you're gonna sit here, you're gonna sit here, you're gonna sit here. So, and a few of the
Mhm.
other teachers do that as well. But
okay,
really, other than the name randomizer, I don't really see that this app is really necessary for
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
long
stuff that
term
said
use.
could be done, yeah, by the teacher
Yeah, yeah.
herself. Yeah,
I feel the same
It's,
about instant classroom. Um, I
oh
think
yeah,
yeah.
creating the
I
random groups I think might be useful when you really want to make sure that they're heterogeneous and you're not being biased or focusing on specific kids. But other than that, I think
yeah.
that it's not that hard to do that on your own.
I agree. I agree, and I
I
also
agree.
think that when you assign groups, you do it based on certain criteria, and then also based on how much you know the student and what you expect from the groups. So I don't think that's needed from an app. The teacher can do that himself or
Yeah.
herself. Yeah.
In some way, I feel like with all of these apps, like you almost don't have to do anything. And it's like, what does your brain do? Honestly,
What's your job? Your role
like,
as a teacher, right?
like what is your brain doing? I don't know. And then
Exactly.
I feel like it's also a lot to keep track of. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I were to use so many different apps, I don't think you would be able to use them as effectively and as efficiently as you. They're all great, and yeah, but I mean, at some point, it's a little bit much.
You
I mean,
spend
I
more time
And
understand
keeping
that
track
you.
of the app in class.
Right, right, right.
and actually, in addition to that, the Smart Seat one is not free actually. You have to pay.
Yeah,
So
the
I
too
don't know if
noisy as
any
Oh,
of
well.
you,
yeah.
yeah, if you realize, if you
Yeah.
notice that or not. So,
As well as the teacher kit and the super duper data tracker. Like those ones,
mhm.
you have to pay for them.
Did you see anything
Yeah.
different with the super duper data tracker that you hadn't seen in the other ones? I felt like it was very similar to the teacher kit and
Totally agree. The teacher kits and the super duper data tracker, kind of similar. Yeah.
Barbara.
Looks like Barbara is off.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't realize I got cut off. Okay. So I was saying that we have to come up with reach a consensus about two tools that are we think are good for managing student behavior, specifically because we're talking about student behavior. Some of these I really don't see them having anything to do with behavior, actually.
Besides the
Yeah.
class
So I
dodo,
don't know.
though, the class dodo that
Yeah,
touch
besides
on
Class
student,
Dojo.
yeah. But also,
Right.
we need to take into account the parents' consideration, like their points of view regarding those behavior
Oh
management
yeah,
tool. Yeah,
definitely, definitely.
that's something that we need to have in mind when
Yeah. When I
making a
used
choice.
Class Dojo, I found that the parents they appreciated it, but I
Mm-hmm.
like what you said, Khadijah, about it being where sometimes it becomes only about the behavior and we take away from the academic side of things, or it's not balanced enough. Um, so it's good when you have something that you could balance, like what Maria has, like what your school uses, where it's actually a digital way of staying in contact with parents, where you could
Yeah.
record behavior and grades and all of that stuff.
But I mean, parents still, I've had complaints from parents because they think it's too much, it's too digital and they have to go online all the time to check and they receive emails so I mean, I don't know what the
Well,
answer is, but
Well, actually, what you do online up until this year, I did manually, and I think that's too much for a teacher because we have the
Wow.
parent contact book, which is the same thing. It's like progress report every other week. You had to
oh wow,
handwrite for 50 students the grade and the comment, and
every other week.
that was every other week. Every other week, you had to send a grade because and we were like, but there are online programs that do this. And so just this year, our school has a new program that we're doing it on digitally, but it's awful because I mean, I'm like, because there are programs out there that already exist, but they contracted this app developer to develop a new program and it doesn't work. So we don't really use it. And so now this year, we don't really communicate with the parents as much as we should, but I would take that over handwriting the notes every other week
Yeah,
any
definitely.
day.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a
Because
lot.
exactly what you have at your school, we were doing it manually up until this year.
Wow.
In
Yeah,
China.
and it's a
Interesting.
lot. hmm
Hmm.
Yeah, and there's like it's a blue book. We call it the blue book, and
Mhm.
you write the notes, and then the parents on the other side they write a long note, and then you have to write back in the book to them, and you send the book back home with the child. And
Oh,
so,
wait a
and they call
minute.
it the parent contact book.
We did that. I did that in second grade at the school, actually.
hmm hmm
That's what the
Yeah.
communication between the parents and the teacher.
Right. But this
Yeah.
book should also have a grade. You should record a
Yeah, we
grade every
have
other week.
Oh, okay.
we have
So
This
like
communication
the
books,
one
all
that
the
we
but we don't
grades
have
used
like
you have
didn't
to write in the book.
have anything related to grades.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Oh,
you would have to
okay.
put a test score or an assignment score, the class average, the comments about behavior, and like for primary school, there was a point where we just like use a sticky and it had smiley faces, and you could just take the smiley faces and then you had to write a comment
And
at the
then
bottom.
put it there.
But the thing is, if you are the Chinese teacher had to write in it, the math teacher, the science teacher, the English teacher, the social studies teacher, and so it was basically like you had books on your desk every single day of the week because I mean it took a
you have to
while for the books
rotate
to go
through.
around.
So
Yeah,
then
you have to rotate them.
so Barbara, each student has a book, right? If I understand
Mhm.
how it would work. Okay. Okay, that's
Yeah.
the same kind of setting that we had in second grade.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
we
we
still
send
do
that
that.
home. Oh, you still do that in second grade?
Yeah, because now, yeah, we still do that, and but it's notes, like we sent this home, we sent this grade home, or tomorrow we have this
An
assignment
appointment.
due, or an
If the
appointment, yeah,
parents want
Mhm.
to
PE.
meet you, yeah.
If
If
the
a
very,
parent,
like we
Yeah.
check it, so if the parent is worried about something, they'll write to us there, and we just respond there. But it's not, I mean, it's very informal. No one else
Yeah,
sees
this
it.
one is very formal because we have the blue book and then the green book is which is pretty much the same thing, but the green book is what you use for final exams, and this is basically like their transcript. It goes with them wherever they go,
Wow.
and
that's
so
good.
they just haven't updated yet to the
Mm-hmm.
digital way. So I mean, there is parents can complain that it's too digital, but then I could see the other side where it's too manual and you don't have time to be
Yeah.
handwriting stuff that you could be
Yeah.
typing in 2016, you know. So it's a balance, I guess. It's having the
So
balance.
And I
that's
guess the
why
good part
I
about
like
these is that it
RenWeb.
follows. Yeah.
Mhm. I like RenWeb, it kind of combines all those aspects in one, and also you can communicate with the parents at any time. A couple of times, I think there was a time when there was some technical issue, and then parents would receive messages regarding your child being late, and they will call you right away to see what's going on. So I think it's very effective.
Yeah.
RenWeb is
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's very effective.
So we have to decide on three that
So
we
I
think
think
are
definitely class dodo, right? That's the name.
Class Dojo for
Yeah, Class
behavior
Dojo and then
specifically.
Dojo. Yeah.
right.
I think the timer, what's the name? The too nosy also is not bad. Too
Yeah,
nosy
I like the
one.
too noisy. I think that that
Yeah.
would be, and then,
Good incentive, the too noisy. I actually thought about
mhm.
downloading it, and then I saw that it was $3.99.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's a
no, they
nice
have
tool.
the too noisy LTE, like the free one, but it probably has like
Okay.
restrictions or something. You could probably
I,
download.
I don't know about you guys, but I like the teacher kit.
I
Teacher
just was
kit.
going to say, I think the teacher kit, out of
Yeah,
everything else, yeah, teacher kit.
I like it. I think it's a good one
Yeah, me too.
too. Yeah.
I like the graphs at the end, and I'm
Mhm.
sure parents would think
Yeah,
that's a good add-on too.
right.
And it has
So we
both
only
the
need
student
to
records
pick,
and the behavior.
yeah. So we only need to pick three, not more than that, right?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then no, that's it. I think that's it. We weren't looking at the time. This call wasn't too long,
Yeah,
right? Because
I
it
was
says
just
no
about
long,
to ask how
no
long.
more than 30 minutes. I forgot.
Okay.
Oops. It'll be all right. It took us long enough to get on live. We should be able
I
to talk for as
know.
long as we want.
exactly. Okay.
It's nice to see a smile on everyone's face.
You just have to
Ah,
laugh at it, you know?
yes. Nice.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'll stop the
Okay.
broadcast now, and
Okay.
then
Okay.